Welcome back, Meow, to Ghost in the Cloud, your anime podcast. We're your hosts, Bridget and John.
Hello.
Talk about the latest and greatest of the anime world. This week, we're talking about Studio Ghibli's Cat Returns.
It's The Cat Returns, Bridget.
And it's the best movie ever.
It is not the best movie ever. It might be one of the worst movies ever.
This is a Studio Ghibli film, so just watch your mouth, okay? But we actually already mentioned the word of the week, which is cat, and that is neko. And kitten actually is koneko, which I think is adorable. But
Sure.
Before we get into it, we're going to talk about some anime news.
First bit of news, Aniplex of America is streaming a full English dub trailer for Fate Stay Night Heaven's Feel 1 Presage Flower, the first film in the Fate Stay Night Heaven Feel anime trilogy. The dub will premiere in theaters in the United States on June 5th and June 7th, so check your local times for when this movie is going to be in your area. Fathom Events will be hosting it and has a list of full participating theaters. The screening will include exclusive bonus content featuring ADR director Tony Oliver and the English voice cast, who are reprising their roles from Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works. The official website for Fate Stay Night also began streaming a teaser trailer for the second film, Fate Stay Night Heaven Feels 2 Lost Butterfly, this past Wednesday. The video teases a new character, so check that out and let us know what you think. Also, the official website for Bandai Namco Entertainment's Digimon's Re-Arise, they're bringing a smartphone game to you. They began streaming a promotional video for the game on Wednesday, and it reveals the cast and preview song for the game, which looks to be interesting. I don't know if you guys remember, there was a Digimon game on the original PlayStation. I had a copy of it. I was totally into this game, and I never beat it. I barely got far in it because it was so very difficult. But I'm all about another Digimon game. The game will be free to play with the options to purchase items, and players will be able to visit a town to interact and befriend Digimon. Sounds good enough to me. We'll check it out, and we'll let you know what comes of it. That's it for news this week. Let's get into The Cat Returns. Alright, The Cat Returns is a 2002 Japanese animated fantasy film directed by Hiroyuki Morita, produced by Toshio Suzuki and Nozomu Takahashi. Written by Reiko Yoshida and based on The Cat Returns by Eo Hiragi, with music by Yuji Nomi, animated by the one and only Studio Ghibli. I found this kind of interesting. The Cat Returns' origin comes from the 1995 Studio Ghibli film Whisper of the Heart. In that film, a girl is writing a fantasy novel and imagines the character of the Baron, which I thought was kind of cool. And due to the popularity of that movie, this movie kind of is an indirect sequel of it, where the Baron is a main character. This was originally commissioned by a Japanese theme park as a 20-minute movie short, and what happened was they actually canceled the commissioning of it. So now Studio Ghibli is stuck with this, and without Miyazaki, it actually probably wouldn't have gotten off the ground. He kind of took it, turned it into a 45-minute short. They ended up handing it over to one of their animators, Hiroyuki Morita, who was an animator on the 1999 film My Neighbors the Yamadas. And over a 9-month period, he transformed all the information he had into 525 pages of storyboards. You may not necessarily know what a storyboard is, but think of a giant whiteboard. Literally everything is drawn out and they have ideas on the board and it's just sort of trying to put things together. And there's 525 pages of that.
That's insane.
It's what goes into an anime film is kind of crazy. They take all of that and create The Cat Returns. They managed to push it because of the character Haru, who we'll introduce shortly. They felt she was very believable. I guess
very
within the, well, haha.
No, I mean, she has a very human, a believable
reaction to things, I guess. Just
flaw to her and growth. That's what growing up is about. And she had a very believable experience.
And, like I said earlier, without Miyazaki and him pushing for this, it may not have happened. And this ends up only being the second theatrical and third overall Studio Ghibli feature film directed by someone other than Miyazaki and Takahata. Quick synopsis for you. The story follows a girl named Haru Yoshioka, a quiet and shy high school student who one day saves a blue cat from being hit by a truck on a busy road. This cat is Loon, Prince of the Cat Kingdom. That's what we're doing. As thanks, the cat gives Haru gifts of catnip and mice, and things kind of get out of hand. They want to sort of shower her with gifts for saving the prince's life, and it kind of just falls and tumbles into a world of craziness. And before you know it, Haru is whisked. I can't say the word. Whisked. away on a very unbelievable adventure. So, naturally, what brings us to this anime, it's Studio Ghibli, so it's not hard to
eventually I want
it.
to talk about all of the Ghibli films, but we're trying to spread them out. But this one was the most recent one that was put into local participating theaters by the Studio Ghibli Fest. So, every once in a while, they'll take a classic Studio Ghibli movie, and they'll put it into a few theaters, and this was actually in one of the local theaters by us as well. So, if, I'm hoping that when they did it, you had a chance to see it. If not, it's an older film, so it's easy to get an affordable copy of it. That's what really put it to mind, but I had already seen it many years ago because I love cats.
Naturally.
It's not news to you guys, but I love them so much, and I collect them, and they're...
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I really wanted John to get a chance to see this film. I'm kind of curious what your honest reaction to it is.
I don't like it, but I'll get into why I don't like it. So, let's start with one thing I want to talk about immediately off the bat. It's from 2002, so it's not old in comparison to, the other Ghibli movies that we've watched. Some of them are in the similar, age gap as that, but the animation, I feel like, is drastically different than what I'm used to seeing as Ghibli. It almost has a new era kind of feel to it. The animation style.
It is a little different.
Which I don't think is bad in any way. Haru, the main character, this female character, I didn't really care for her. Typically in a Studio Ghibli movie, I feel like you get a very strong female character, and she definitely advances throughout the movie. She grows up to a degree, but she also kind of hinders herself also, and it's not a bad thing. It's actually quite normal. We all make mistakes. We all have our flaws. So it's not she's a bad character. She's just not typical from at least in my opinion, she's not typical of what we're used to seeing with
not
Studio
typical
Ghibli.
for most of the Ghibli movies, but if you think about it, Spirited Away, the main character started out the same way. She was a whiny brat. She didn't know what she wanted to do. She made a lot of mistakes.
She was also a kid.
She
was also a child though. This is a high school student.
No, she looked like she was in middle school. She was at a young age, but she was still old enough to know what was going on. This girl, she's only in high school herself, so she's probably less than 5 years older than that character. So honestly, I feel like it's not the first time that they took, a female role and then made it, instead of making it a strong leader, they made it someone that you say, wow, they really grew. I could see how they blossomed as a person. They saw their flaws, they recognized them, and then they overcame them. And it's supposed to be inspiring for us as people because their flaws are our flaws. Having insecurities, doubting yourself. These are things that people that age, they're always feeling that. So it's showing it is the best thing that you could do is to be yourself. And that was a strong message in this movie that the main character portrayed for us.
She believes she can talk to cats, and I guess ultimately she can, which brings us to some of the other characters. So I think Muta is my favorite character.
He was pretty great.
Ronaldo Moon. He is this devilish cat that has just ransacked the cat kingdom once before. All these weird things sort of just continually happen to Haru as after she saves this cat, announces that, he is very grateful, in Japanese, mind you.
Yeah, he stands up like a little person.
Which is terrifying. It is a terrifying image. This movie is the stuff of nightmares.
Okay, no it's not. But I get what you're saying because it doesn't look like the cats are walking around with ease like people are. It looks like they're struggling to stay up on their hind feet, holding their paws up like little T-Rexes. And it's just really awkward because they're walking around like they're not meant to walk on 2 feet, which they're not. And it makes it really disturbing a little bit.
Really disturbing. Plus, they have magic. They have magic.
Yeah.
Cats are horrible creatures. They should not also have magic.
Cats are not horrible creatures.
They're the worst.
They are not.
They're the worst.
All the cats in this movie, they were just, the worst of them were just misunderstood and spoiled.
The majority of them are bad cats.
They're not bad. They didn't understand people. They were trying to make her happy, and they were just going about it the wrong way. They were just trying to show their gratitude. They were sending her boxes of mice. They had her whole home was covered in cattails.
You know what I did like a lot? Okay, so Haru saves the Prince Loon, and then that evening she is visited by this caravan of cats from the Cat Kingdom. What I like about that scene is not only do I find it terrifying, but there are cats that exist outside this magical cat kingdom, and they're normal cats. They're cats what we expect cats to be, and they're not about these other cats.
They were freaking out. They were hissing.
They were trying to attack them, and I'm just these cats understand the work of the devil when they see it.
Honestly, like what I was thinking in that moment was that there were some cats that were just never exposed to the cat kingdom. So they never learned their gift of speech and the same level of like almost like human intelligence. So they were just like regular cats.
I saw it as these cats, the cat kingdom cats, as like abominations.
That's awful.
That's how I pictured it.
No, I just think that they didn't understand what was happening, and they
abominations.
No. I think my favorite character was the Baron.
Well, I mean, he is the main character. He is sort of the main character.
Yeah, he's more the main character, I guess. And he's supposed to, like, look up to that character. But I just think it was really cool where he said he came from. He's not an actual cat at all. He is, where he resides, he said it's a special dimension where humans, they'll create things, but when they put their heart and soul into it, that gets a soul of its own. So there was like a statue of a raven that has his own soul and flies around. He was made, and he's not even like a regular cat. He has like human hands instead of paws. He walks around on 2 feet naturally. Like the other cats that looked awkward. He's wearing a suit. He's making tea. You know, he is something altogether. I just think that he's the good protagonist. He's the hero of the movie. And I thought he was a great character.
So Haru gets whisked away, I can't say that word, to the cat kingdom, and she is this shy, clumsy kind of girl who kind of doesn't have much going for her. At least that's how it's sort of depicted. And when she gets to the cat kingdom, all of a sudden all these cats are just like pouring over her and like treating her like royalty.
Yeah.
And she kind of gets caught up in the moment, and because of that, she starts to turn into a cat.
Right. Well, the whole point of this movie, the whole moral of it rather, is to be yourself. And from the very beginning, the Baron tells her, you know, just what you need to do is you need to know how to be yourself. You need to be okay with being yourself. Because he recognized that from the moment they met, that she was uncomfortable in her own skin. She's tripping over everything. She's clumsy. She's awkward. She doesn't approach other people. So it's because she's still figuring herself out. When she gets to the world of the cats, she's just, you know, she's not sure if she's doing the right thing, if she's like okay with herself. So she's like, she mumbles to herself, I guess it's okay to become a cat. It's not so bad. You know, just laying around all day in the sun and eating all the fish that I could have. Like, she's thinking maybe it would be better to be somebody else. She has to be reminded again by the Baron, no, remember who you are, don't lose yourself. It's okay to be you. So I thought that was a great, strong message in this movie.
The Baron is what I don't like in characters, where like a character almost seems like flawless. You know, he can do pretty much anything, and
that's true.
He never sort of falters or gives up. It's not a bad trait. It's just I like my characters with flaws, and you know, they're not. That's why I kind of like Muta, Ronaldo Moon. He's this fat, lazy cat. Very typical of a cat.
A lot of personality.
Like, a lot of personality, but like he like pretends to give no shits, and then like gets all riled up. I like that character because that character is not perfect.
I like
by far
the reason why he's notorious in the cat world. And they even have like an old looking drawing on a wall of this big, huge white cat. And it's because he ate all of the fish in the lake and then he took off. Like, really? I mean, because he's this humongous, like, just, he could eat. Oh, he ate a whole banquet and he almost ate himself to death in the movie. And he's known throughout the entire realm because he ate all the fish in the lake. I think that's really funny. Like, I thought maybe he did something like really evil or really dark, or, you know, he stole something and he ate a lot of fish. Like,
there are some like points in this movie while we were watching it, I was just like, that really is weird. That's disturbing. Like, there are points where the king, the cat king, he's kind of depicted as this mad ruler. Like, if he doesn't like you, he'll throw you out the window.
He did, yeah. He threw a couple people out the window. Two of his like
subordinates just out the window.
One laughed at a joke he didn't like. This is ridiculous.
It was just like, I get that. I mean, I imagine that was probably even a reality like thousands of years ago, you know?
He was also like at the end of his reign, like he seemed like he was kind of senile a little bit. Like, he's just so out of touch with the real world and just so spoiled too. He just had no idea how the world really works anymore.
It freaks me out how they walk and how they have magic and how they have like explosives. They blew up things. It's weird. It's weird.
But I mean, even at the end of the movie, like the king, he's just like, I'm done reigning. I think it's time to resign. I think it's my time. Because he realized, like, he's lost it.
The main plot of the story, you know, finding yourself, being true to yourself, learning how to accept yourself. as always, that's a wonderful, wonderful moral of the story, and that's something we should all do. But it's so weird that they would go with like the direction they went in this movie, where like why, like compared to like other Ghibli movies, why make it cats? Like I would love to know what the reason behind a cat kingdom was.
Maybe it had to do with the commission. Remember, they were asked to make the short story for a park. Maybe the cats was part of that commission, or maybe because I've never seen awesome.
Whisper of the Heart, so maybe the Baron is a cat character, and that's sort of how it began. I'm not really sure, but I thought it's not a bad thing. I'm just sort of like confused.
Why cats? Yeah. I liked how they had pet dogs in the circus.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that.
And
Rise
the dogs
up!
Were like, you know, the size of dogs compared to people. It was just really funny. They didn't care. They looked like, you know, hey, I'm happy to be here. Let's do this. You know,
okay, I got a question. Does Japan have like a cat problem? Because there are cats everywhere.
I know there are. I've heard of an island off the coast of Japan. It's like a fisherman island, and it's just covered in cats.
That's nonsense, and
like
not
it's a
really
tourist
lying.
spot for cat lovers. That's how.
That's ridiculous, and you're lying. That would smell so bad.
No, it's a real thing,
that can't be a real thing.
And I can show you pictures. Man, I wish I remember the name of it. But there's pictures of just stray cats just hanging out. They like cover the docks, and they like steal fish out of buckets at fish markets. Like they're just everywhere.
That's so disturbing.
But
and
you know,
terrifying.
I think that cats are just overall more well liked in Japan. Like cats are just really integrated into their culture and their chibi culture, and like they're all over cute things. Like they love cats because they're cute. Cats are cute.
I guess they're okay.
They are cute. And speaking of cute, I loved how they tied in Yuki, like the little white kitten that she rescued earlier when she was a young child, and then Yuki helps her throughout the movie, and at the end of the movie, like helping her escape, and ends up being like the true love of Prince Loon. I thought that was a really cute little side story.
The movie's fine. In no way is it making probably, by the time I'm done watching all the Ghibli movies, I doubt it's going to be a top 10.
I know you're not.
Though I'm not like a cat person, it just, there's kind of like nothing to it, if that makes sense. Like it doesn't do anything for me. I even said to Bridget as it was ending, I was just like, I didn't even notice music.
Well, it was more just like quiet, like background special effects kind of music, and then the ending credits song I liked.
Ghibli movies,
right.
You notice music. Like that's always like a very intense, pronounced thing.
I guess maybe because they let someone else take the reins, it just had such a different feel to it. Like I personally love it when they take those moments where they just let you like take in the scenery and have some beautiful music playing, and you get to really appreciate just the beauty of the world that they created. And I feel like those are moments in the other really successful Studio Ghibli movies that really makes it like you're like, wow, look how beautiful this is. Like, look, like it's dark, or it's, you know, it's haunting. It's just, there's something about it, but they always take the time to really set the scene. Like even Grave of the Fireflies, it's not an enjoyable world, but they take the time to really show it to you. And
you know what? I'm probably on the minority simply because this movie, it did really well in Japan. When it came out in 2002, it was the highest grossing domestic film and the 7th highest grossing film of that year overall. As of 2015, it's the 86th highest grossing film in Japan of all time, which is like crazy to think. It's top 100 of all films.
Right, but I mean, honestly, outside of Studio Ghibli, there's not a lot of anime movies. Like I can name them on both hands, like anime movies that I'm like, this was fantastic.
I guess.
I feel like Studio Ghibli has their own level, and I feel like even if it's not great for their standards, it's still overall a great movie. I mean, there's other great anime movies out there that, you know, we've even talked about on our show, but like I can count on both hands just how many I feel like are up there close to Studio Ghibli quality. I would really like to talk about Whisper of the Heart sometime soon, since these two movies tie in together, but I do like to spread out the Studio Ghibli films since there's a finite number of them, and then when we run out, we run out. So, or maybe we can have an episode where we kind of put them on against each other and to try to decide which is the best, you know, of
it's Grave of the Fireflies.
No, we'll do it another time.
It's Grave of the Fireflies.
No, it's fine. We'll just do it another time.
It is Grave of the Fireflies. Anyway.
So, speaking of Neko and Koneko, we are actually planning a future trip and video project, we're going to be going to a cat cafe in the city sometime in early summer. So it'll be full of Japanese food and inspired Japanese food and culture. And it will be as much as New York can get to a cat cafe, just because we have these different health standards. We're not allowed to have like animals just roaming around in food establishments. So this one, they're not roaming around in the cafe, but they're in a separate area. They're up for adoption. They're rescued animals. And I'm really looking forward to going and checking it out. We'll be going with our repeat offender Blake. So it'll be a great experience. And for all of you cat lovers, you love this movie, you love the Japanese culture, definitely, stay posted for that, and definitely follow us on YouTube so you don't miss it. So don't forget, everybody, you can find us at gitcanime.com. You can find all of our social media links, all of our streaming services on different websites so that you can find it and follow us on your favorite social media network. So, I mean, it is iTunes and Facebook, and we're always uploading soundtracks with the episodes on SoundCloud, and episodes are always going up on YouTube, and I highly recommend you get on YouTube for the video projects as well. But we're on pretty much everything, so go to our website, find all the information, and you can also contact us at gitcanime.com. You can email us through the website as well, because we're always looking for suggestions, ideas, questions, anything you want to know, anything you want to know about us, just hit us up. And thank you again to Anthony for our awesome intro tune.
Thank you to our patrons.
And if you love and want to support our podcast, please check out our Patreon page. Just go to the support page on our website for more information. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Meow.